Good morning, my lovely peaches. Here I am in the freezing cold with my all bundled up, and it is so insanely cold. Look at the lawn. That's the lawn. So I've got a million things to do for my clients. I'm so happy to have the clients that I've been wanting, and now I have to seriously do all the work for them. So I do want to make a video, now that they released Donna Adelson's arrest video. Donna Adelson, Donna Adelson, or Adelson. There are so many things to talk about. A lot of people have already covered it. There was one particular thing I didn't see anybody mention, which is I thought it was pretty weird that when they were trying to get Donna's phone, Harvey's saying, "I don't want to give it to you. Why do I have to give it to you? I don't want to." And I'm like, are they so enmeshed that he can't tell that he's not Donna?
Your cell phone? No, I don't want to give it to you. Why do I have to?
Because my attorney said not to.
Why do I have to give it to you? This is evidence. Evidence. She's under arrest. I have to go with it. I have to go.
That was very weird. Like, I thought it was strange he wasn't saying, why does she have to? She doesn't have to give it to you. He was like, I don't want to. That was weird. It really just broke my heart.
She's under arrest. I have to go with it. I have to go.
She's under arrest. I gotta go. I have to go. It's like, I was thinking, why do I feel so bad for these murderers? It's like, I wanted them to get arrested. I'm glad they're arrested. They deserve to be arrested. But it is sad. I mean, the obvious tragedy that Dan Markel lost his life, and then the boys lost their dad, and their whole mother side of the family is basically, except for their uncle, who they never get to see and probably heard a bunch of bad lies about because he was disowned and shit. He's probably the only one with any decency, and they don't even get to know him. And then his dad's side of the family, they get completely cut off of. And it's sad. It's sad that people make terrible choices. Cut off from their family and brainwashed against them, not even knowing the truth at all. That's what I was thinking about. Like, it's sad. It's so sad that people chose a criminal option that wasn't an option. That should have been an option, but yet. Coming in out of the cold. And it sounds like they had quite a lot of time to change their minds. And I'm going to just go ahead and straight up say, all these people out here who claim there's not enough evidence on Wendi didn't know. That's exactly what she wanted you to think. For the people who were saying, oh, I think they might have done this without her. Bullshit. You got duped. You got pulled in. You got fooled by her fake ass blue eyes or whatever. You got fooled because she schemed, plotted and planned, and fooled your ass, thinking that she was... I mean, it's so laughable, but it's... It would would be laughable if it wasn't so utterly tragic that people actually believe. Oh wait, I have to take out the recycling. To actually believe that she's innocent, you are naive. Watching Donna Adelson's arrest, I was thinking, God, what's it gonna look like when it's Wendy's turn? So when Wendy gets arrested, are they gonna arrest her in front of her kids? Is she gonna have a chance to say goodbye? Are they gonna arrest her at home and let her say goodbye to her kids? Or are they gonna arrest her at the airport? I don't think she would go to the airport. I know she won't go to the airport. But I am very curious. Is she going to just wait? Just live her life, pretending like everything's fine, functioning like it's just another day. It's just another dollar. Just another day. Same shit, different day. Is she going to try to get on a boat? Is she going to try to drive to Canada or to Mexico? Go to Cuba? Is she going to try to just pretend like they're not coming for her? They got Charlie, they got Donna, they're fine. They're fine with that, you know. They don't need to go after her. I mean, she said they're not going to arrest me for a crime I didn't commit. True, Wendy. But they are going to arrest you for the crimes that you did commit. And just like Jeffrey Lacasse said, she would go off and cry in the kitchen periodically, a few weeks, the month before the murder. She's probably doing that now. Crying here and there, having little bouts of grieving and realizing nothing will ever be the same. You know, maybe she doesn't care that her kids, that, you know, I believe she is truly, truly a user, and she will use and abuse and discard anyone, including her own mother, her own husband, her own ex-husband, the baby's daddy, her brother, her mother, her father, any man or friend. And I do believe that a person like that, there's only so much that they can actually love another person, because how much can you truly love your children if you would murder their father? And not somebody who was hurting you, not somebody who was like truly self-defense, not somebody who, it's what you had to do to save yourself and your kids kind of thing, but like you literally had a man murdered, a loving father who was financially supporting the children, emotionally, physically, psychologically. He was there, he was present, he loved them, he cared about them, he wanted to be their dad, he was their dad, he wanted to raise them, he wanted to have a say in how they were raised. They were 3 and 4 years old babies. He adored them. All the reports that I heard, everybody said Danny was the most amazing dad I've ever known. And that is the man that, in my opinion, allegedly, Wendy and her family had killed. And this bitch is walking free for now. So I am curious. When they arrest her, what's it going to be? And eventually we'll see the video as well. You know, and there's like a mixture of anticipation. I'll be so glad for it. But then as much as it's like weird to even be thinking about a total stranger getting arrested, it just makes me so angry that this woman is walking free, raising her kids, telling them whatever lies she wants to tell them, and she was part of their father's murder. I believe, allegedly, speculation. Wendi Adelson arrest watch. All right, I gotta take out the recycling and do a million things. All right, guys, I'll take you with me outside one last time. So I'd like to be able to do a long reaction to the whole thing. However, I got too many other projects that I have to do on a deadline. So I'm gonna try to get this little video out just because I really want to share some thoughts about it. And I think it was pretty striking. There was when Pat Sanford says you're under arrest for the murder of Dan Markel, and she goes, "Ah, here we go again." I'm pretty sure she says, "Ah, here we go again."
Hi, how are you? You have an ID? You're under arrest for the murder of your cell phone. No, I don't want to give it to you. Why do
And I wonder if she was like referring to like Charlie. You know, here we go again.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
You may take your seat.
Please say your name and spell your name.
Patrick Sanford, Sanford.
How are you employed?
I'm a special agent with the Federal Bureau.
selection, we talked about the burden of proof and how it was my burden to prove this case to you beyond a reasonable doubt through evidence. And generally speaking, the defense's job is to poke holes in the evidence and argue that it falls short of meeting that high burden. And we also learned at jury selection that the defense does not have to prove anything. But sometimes if the law enforcement investigation is so thorough and so compelling that there's really no way to poke holes in the evidence, he has to basically admit his own words, his own text messages. That stuff is undeniable, right? And those things prove that he was in cahoots with Catherine McBanois in 2013, through the murder in 2014, and all the way up until her arrest in October of 2016. He knows he can't deny that he paid the killers because of this bizarre practice he had of stapling his money. So sometimes when a defendant can't attack the facts or the law, they instead try to explain it away by saying, you can't trust what you're seeing. It's not what it appears to be. It's actually something else entirely.
Jay, he was saying, he was commenting on the airport music, like the music. And she's walking through the airport. And it's bittersweet. It's funny. It's tragic. It's devastating. So unnecessary. Very avoidable. Bad choice. Bad decision. Bad planning. Bad weighing of the frozen pond. It's heartbreaking. It's very sad to see grown people choosing these choices. It's going to be Wendi soon. Wendi Adelson, Arrest Watch. She's next. You know, it's really sad. Like I said, there's parts of me that I'm like, it's delightful to know that somebody who was getting away with something, not just getting away with something, getting away with murder, is finally going to have to face justice. But at the same time, it's like everybody loses, you know? Everybody loses. And as much as I can't stand what they did and all of that, you know, hearing all those jail calls, it's like, wow, except for the murder part, they were so close. They seem like such a loving family. Like June said, except for the cheating and the murder, he was the perfect guy.
It's like very sad, but the only thing bad about him was he's supposedly a murderer, so.
Yes.
I mean,
That's the only thing bad about him, yeah.
but other than that, it was like my dream guy, and it was like perfect until the whole thing blew up. And then that was like number one priority instead of us. And
So before that, you never caught him with another girl?
oh yeah, I've caught him.
Okay.
So that's yeah, I was gonna say,
You
yeah.
might have, but that's
Well,
what
the
we're
girl that he's
confused about.
pregnant with, I've caught him with her
There's been a couple.
twice.
And you
I've
still
caught him.
describe him as a perfect
I know.
Well, yeah, the murdering and the cheating.
That's just, yeah.
Besides the murdering and cheating, he was great. Though.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, I know obviously he's not good for me, so
Okay. Yeah, it looks like you kind of got your stuff together. You got a realty license now, it looks like.
yeah.
Well, I just found June Umchinda's police interview, which sounds like Georgia Kappelman and Patrick Sanford, and I ended up recording almost a half an hour worth of it. But maybe I'll do that as another video where I talk about what she says. I don't want to make this video 2 hours long though, so I won't include the half hour here.
It's small, so it's this portion here. Just take a moment and review it. Does it refresh your memory at all?
Yes, we did talk about the stapled money, so
Okay, so you did make that statement.
yes.
Okay. One moment, please, Your Honor.
You bet. Good morning.
Good morning.
I represent Mr. Garcia, and I'm going to ask you some questions with regards to your involvement in this case, okay?
Okay.
Now, you said on direct examination that you were unaware that you were being recorded. Is that correct?
Yes.
And just so I can get a better understanding, did law enforcement come to your home, or did you get summoned to go to a police station?
They've came to my home multiple times, like banging on my door, and throughout the year. They came to my homes, attempted about like 2 or 3 times until I finally got a hold of someone to get the subpoena back then.
So the date in question, what is the date?
July 24th.
2018?
Yes, sir.
So the government's been referring to a transcript of an interview that you were involved in on July 24th, 2018, correct?
Yes.
And this interview, did it take place at a police station, at your home?
It was in my condo lobby at my home.
When you were involved in the interaction with law enforcement, was there a stenographer there taking notes?
I didn't even know they took.
Jury, whether or not prior to the beginning of this recording that they discussed stapling the money together, correct?
Correct.
Now, you were with Charlie Adelson from October of 2015
Yes.
until June of 2016.
17.
I'm sorry, 17. Almost a 2-year relationship, correct?
Yes.
And it was your testimony that you would spend almost every night at his house, correct?
Yes.
During this 2 years, did you ever see him smoke marijuana? 2013?
I guess one time, and we went there to clubs and to Miami once, and like maybe Fort Lauderdale, but it wasn't frequent enough like that. So.
And you began dating him in 2015, correct?
Yes.
So you don't know what his frequency of going out to nightclubs was in, let's say, 2013
Right.
or 2014, correct?
Yes.
And you also wouldn't know whether or not he was doing cocaine in 2013, correct?
Right.
Or 2014, correct?
Yes.
But he did smoke weed in front of you.
Yes.
Did you smoke it with him?
I have, yes.
Now, you ended your relationship with him because he was cheating on you, right?
That was the primary reason. Yes.
So he was withholding things from you, correct?
Right. We were on a break and got back together and found out
That he got another
girl
girl
pregnant. Right.
Now, the prosecutor asked you if you were ever introduced to any gang members by Mr. Adelson, correct?
Yes.
Now, you don't know if you knew any gang members in 2013, correct?
Right.
You don't know if you knew any gang members in 2014, correct?
Correct.
The only information you can give this jury is what occurred in your relationship, which started in October of 2015. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, with regards to the fact that Mr. Adelson, Charlie Adelson, had gotten another female pregnant, you were hurt by that, correct?
Of course.
And when the police spoke to you on that interview in summer of 2018, the police told you about the stapled money, correct?
They told me about it?
Right.
No, because when they showed up, they were conversating with me, so it was mentioned. It was during a bad time when we weren't together that they testimonied me. So.
Okay, so did they bring up the stapling of the money? They did, right? The police? Did they, let me rephrase it. Did they ask you about stapled money?
They asked me, yes, about.
You didn't bring it up on your own, right?
Right.
You said that you spoke to Mr. Adelson yesterday?
Yes.
Was he going to ask you about your testimony today?
Objection,
No.
hearsay.
She's already answered.
The answer's
Find
no?
the objections untimely, but I sustain those objections for further purposes. You can move on, Mr. Sanguine.
Yes, Judge. Give me a minute.
You may.
I have no further questions of this witness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Do you have any children?
No.
You were asked questions about cash inside of the house. You remember that, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, Charles Adelson was a generous guy, right?
Yes.
In fact, at one point you explained in your statement how you had counted the money because he would give loans to people, to friends.
He helped out friends and gave loans. I didn't physically count the money he gave out to them, no.
Fair enough. But you knew that he would lend out money to people that needed it and they would pay him back.
He just told me, yes.
You know, and it's like they were such a close family, it seemed. And, you know, seeing how her and Harvey were kissing and stuff, it just makes me so heartbroken. Like, wow, you really made that choice. Like a grown ass adult. Let's try this again. Grown-ups, several grown-ups, a whole family of grown-ups made the worst choice. Like, they should have been saying, we know it sucks. You're where you don't want to be. But at least you're free. At least you have freedom. You can come and go as you please. You can go to Miami every other week, for the entire week. It's not convenient, that sucks, but you can do it. You've got girlfriends, got boyfriends, you've got yoga and lunch plans, you've got a good job, you've got nice people who seem to care about you and like you. I thought it was snowing again. You can come and go. You have your children. You get to raise your children. No, it's not ideal. Divorce sucks. Sharing, co-parenting, it can suck. But you know what? The best way to make it a little bit better is to not be a fucking asshole. To not be a raging lunatic. To not be a murderous psychopath. How about that? So because you couldn't stand to live in Tallahassee for 10 or 15 more years, you decided to give up the whole rest of your life. Real smart choice. You're going to give up your whole rest of your life. You're going to give up your children completely. You're going to give up all your friends. You're going to give up everything. You're going to give up your freedom. You're going to just become a prisoner. Like, I didn't even know. You know, I heard Dr. G saying yesterday, I was watching him on STS, Surviving the Survivor. And I also watched his own video he made on his own channel. But, you know, he was like, Donna, the video of Donna getting arrested. He's like, Donna didn't realize how serious it was. You know, and she's like, how long are we gonna have to wait here? Can I get the air conditioner? Because I am going to jump in to my own video to pull out an excerpt so I could do a short version. And this is clips of it that I talk about, and mostly my opinion, my thoughts, and all of the various things in the videos that I've put together, the information and my ongoing and evolving thoughts about this situation. And ultimately to say that I do say a few times, I'm happy she was arrested. I'm happy Charlie's in jail. But happy is the wrong word because it's not joyful, you know. I say several times that everybody loses. No one is a winner here. And the ultimate truth of the situation is that people made awful choices that ruined their own lives, took the life of a man who was young and had a lot to live for and wanted to live, and people who loved him who are forever scarred by his loss and their loss of him and everything that they would have shared with him. And that's the ultimate thing. So there's a lot of true crime channels. There's a lot of channels who follow these things, show these things, and then, you know, every channel has their own particular slant, purpose, or vibe. So my vibe is about love and spreading love and healing from trauma and learning how to love yourself more and learning how to expand your willingness and ability to love yourself and others, and then learning to see the truth that there really are no others, Ramana Maharshi, and that, you know, the all oneness of everyone and everything is true. But that, you know, before you get to that, just start small. Start with yourself. Start learning to like yourself, because liking yourself is the foundation of loving yourself. And learning how to like yourself and being kind and forgiving on yourself can help you to learn how to like others and how to be more kind and forgiving of them, which is helpful when you're breaking up and you've got to learn how to co-parent and you don't want to make a bad choice like hiring a hitman because you think it's easier to kill somebody than to actually learn how to be mature and learn how to be somebody who cares about other people besides just your own. Selfish, bratty, entitled, woe is me, you wade the frozen pond in your mind and now you're gonna go to jail forever. So this is just an intro for the excerpt of this like 10-15 minute thing, but the long video, which is an hour and some, where I go more into detail about aspects of the arrest video specifically, as well as my thoughts about the Wendi arrest watch and further developments. Okay, I hope you find this helpful and that you are able to learn something in your own life so that you don't do the worst thing and end up in the worst situation. And maybe you can learn how to be a more loving, more understanding, more compassionate person to the people that you can't stand in your life. Okay, bye. So I want to play this little minute and a half part first. I'm going to talk a little bit over it. I'm going to talk a little bit over it because it's long crime. And you can go over there, subscribe to them, watch the whole video. I just wanted to show the clip of, like if I move over here, I can cut, I'm trying to see where I can sit to cut some of this part out. It's really heartbreaking. I'll talk a little bit at the end again and throughout this whole thing about heartbreaking. It's like, oh, they seem so nice in a lot of ways, except for this part, you know, which is a big deal. So you should go for the arrest if you believe the charges are supported by probable cause. There will be enough evidence to support a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt, and that the decision to charge is in the interest of justice. And justice doesn't come only for the young. Old people have to face justice too. You know, you should be more mature and smarter by the time in your old age. You shouldn't be doing murders. It's sad, but she brought this on herself. Remember, Dan Markell is dead forever. Remember, Dan Markell is dead forever. Can I get air conditioning? The air conditioner doesn't go back because of the plastic. So can you open my, and then she says, you'll be freezing.
You'll be freezing. You'll be glad you have it.
You'll be freezing in jail. You'll be glad you have it. So then she gets more water. Again, somebody's like, why does she want so much water? Well, she's probably stressed. It's hot. She just said she's hot. It's hot as hell back there is what she said. It's Florida, people. This is Florida, and it's humid, it's hot, and she's sitting in the back of a black leather police car with no air conditioning. So I just think it's important to talk shit where it's applicable and not just bitch about every single thing somebody does.
Oh, how long we're going to
Do you know how long we're going to sit here?
Thank you.
Do you know how long we're going to sit here? Which is, again, it's like, well, you should probably be grateful for sitting there however long you can, because it's going to be a lot worse in the jail. But I don't think she realizes that. Like Dr. G said, she's not comprehending the severity of this. I think she thinks she might get out on bail. And she just doesn't seem to get it. How long are we going to sit here?
Do you know how long we're going to sit? Oh, how long we're going to sit here?
As soon as he comes back, he's going to take you from here to the warrant bureau and then to the facility. We're waiting for the other officer to come back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whatever information he took from you, I guess that's what he was missing, so he's going to enter that and come back.
Okay. So the next place is what? The warrant? What did you say?
Huh?
What did you say?
Huh?
What did you say?
Huh?
What did you...
Huh? That, It's like, oh, it gets me every time. Huh?
What did you say? Huh? What did you say the next place was?
Well, see, what happened is the warrant that they have from you is from out of Leon County.
Leon County is Tallahassee, and they're in Miami. Leon County, Florida, United States.
Here you go.
All right, and here's the colonist that they probably honor, even though he was probably a terrible person. So in case you haven't been following every detail of this case, she was arrested in Miami and had to get taken the 9 hours back up north to Tallahassee from Miami, where she was at when she got arrested. So the cop was explaining to her it was a Leon County warrant, but she was down in Dade County. So that's why they got involved, and then they had to get her to the warrant office so they could process it and then get her in the jail and then have her sent up to Tallahassee where she was going to be properly put through all whatever. However, I don't believe any of the Adelson family will be enjoying any of the lovely attractions in Tallahassee.
The cities of Leon County are Tallahassee, Fort Braden, and Woodville.
When did they issue a warrant?
So what happened is we have to take you to our warrant room for that information to get entered, and then after that gets entered, before we can take you to the jail, to the local jail.
Okay, because I didn't know there was a warrant. How would I know that?
She says, I didn't know there was a warrant. How would I know that? I guess you find out when they arrest you.
Okay, because I didn't know there was a warrant.
They issue a warrant and then they come and get you, so that's how you find out. We wouldn't have been able to take you if there wasn't something in place.
And then after that gets entered, before we can take you to the jail, to the local jail.
Okay, because I didn't know there was a warrant. How would I know that?
Well, we wouldn't have been able to take you if there wasn't something in place.
So aren't they supposed to inform? Aren't they supposed to inform me if there was a warrant for me?
They did inform you. They arrested you.
Well, I don't know the details.
I don't either.
They had a warrant. The gentleman that you met earlier in the plainclothes.
Yes.
Right. They were supposed to inform you of whatever, and then earlier in the plainclothes.
Yes.
So she said the gentleman in the plain clothes, they were supposed to inform you of whatever, and she goes, they did inform you, honey. That's why you're in the cop car.
Yes.
So if you have a warrant out because you didn't pay some parking tickets kind of thing, it's not as serious as murder. If you are like under the suspicion of murder and then they find out that you're going to flee and they can issue a warrant within hours and come and get you before you leave the country, and then they would have a much harder time. So they issued the warrant. They found out on the jail calls that you were gonna flee. They had their eyes and ears and stuff on you. So they got a judge to issue an arrest warrant because it was she was literally at the gate. I guess they can actually come all the way onto the plane and get your ass off the plane before the plane's taken off, but they were close. And if they had gotten off the ground and gotten into the air and landed on soil that was like, oh, we don't send people back to you, she might have actually got away with murder. They might have. I don't know if they're going to arrest Harvey. I think they will, and they should. But I believe that the way they're going about this is very, very strategic. It's not because they're sloppy. It's not because they're messy. It's not because they don't have what they need. I think it's because just like it was a train going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, it feels like they are dismantling this train one car at a time. And I believe not only is it strategic to dismantle the whole conspiracy and all the co-conspirators and the unindicted co-conspirators, but I think that the way Georgia Kappelman and her team is going about it is, it's like taking the power away from them more by one at a time, picking them off, I do believe Charlie, to me, people have said, do you think Charlie's going to flip? Well, he already did. All his jail calls of him saying all that stuff about Wendi, to me, that's flipping. Because why would you say all that stuff if you were still on her side? Like, he literally threw her down under the bus, but that's only, I mean, I can't really say he threw her under the bus. He's trying to drag her under the bus with him because he's like, bitch, you fucking threw me down. And another thing I wanted to say is that I comment in some video where I'm talking about Wendi, how it annoys me so much that she keeps saying, yeah, yes, yeah. And watching Donna, obviously that's her mom, their mother and daughter, but I was like, oh, I see it. I see where Wendi probably got it from.
Right. They were supposed to inform you of whatever, and then because it's a county.
I mean, it's not a happy day for you, and it sucks.
Okay. Yeah.
It does suck. And I do feel terrible. The whole thing is terrible. All of it. I mean, like I said before, it's heartbreaking. Yes, I'm happy that she was arrested and she's in jail and she'll probably spend the rest of her life in jail. I'm happy Charlie is in jail. I'll be happy when Wendi gets arrested. But happy, it's like a bittersweet because, like I said, everybody loses. How is it really happy? Like, it's not happy. It's justice and it's what needs to be done. But it doesn't feel good to know that they destroyed themselves, their family, their children. Like, it's not happy.
We have to take you to our warrant room for that information to get entered, and then after that gets entered, before we can take you to the jail, to the local jail.
Okay, because I didn't know there was a warrant. How would I know that?
Well, we wouldn't have been able to take you if there wasn't something in place.
So aren't they supposed to inform? Aren't they supposed to inform me if there was a warrant for me?
Well, I don't know the details.
I don't either.
They had a warrant. The gentleman that you met earlier in the plainclothes.
Yes.
Right. They were supposed to inform you of whatever, and then because it's a county warrant, that's how we became involved.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I never thought about getting arrested. I never thought about what would I do? What would happen if? They would take my phone. They would take literally everything, even the clothes off your back once you get to the place. Like, I saw the thing when she checked in. One gray sweatshirt. T-shirt. Like, oh my God. You don't even get to have your own stuff anymore. I didn't ever thought about that stuff because I never was like, I'm going to go do murder. I pretty much have not chosen a life of crime. Pretty much all the way. Like, yeah, I have not done crime. Way the frozen pond. You know what I'm talking about? It was one night my son and I were snuggling and he said, weigh the pros and cons, and I thought he said weigh the frozen pond, and that made me think of, when you're mentality is skewed. And your prose is really just a frozen pond. Bullshit in your mind. Like, stay in Tallahassee for the next 15 to 20 years, which I don't like, but at the same time, I can still, it's not like you live in another country. It's not like you live in another state where it's impossible to get there. It's not like, you know, you can only see your mom and dad once a year or once every 5 years because you're trapped so far away. You can literally go there every week for the week, which according to your ex-boyfriend you did. So, yes, it sucks and it's not ideal, but it's a hell of a lot better to be walking free, coming and going, having friends, having a life, having friends and a life, having options, having lunch at a restaurant, having a yoga class, working at a university. If you didn't like that, you could have done something else. Now, what are your options, girl? What are your options? You could fake the funk with your unshowered stank ass, but like everybody knows that your days are numbered. Your like that slamming of the jail cell, the slamming doors of the jail. I'm sorry. The slamming doors of the jail cell. A glamour to the slammer. While Chuck yammers, damn her! What was the other thing? Oh, I said, Wendi, run, hun. Run. Run into the sun with your pocket money. You're not going to make it, babe. I don't know. I mean, if she's some sort of mastermind, maybe they'll finally show up for her and poof, she'll be gone. Never find out whatever happened to Wendi. With an eye, because she lies, Adelson, the murderer. And I feel so awful for her children. That's the thing. They lose. They lost their dad. They lost their grandparents. They lost their connection to that whole side. They lost that part of their heritage. They lost that part of their... They lost a father to raise them. Well, I say that each person is like an entire galaxy multiverse upon themselves because of how complex we are. So each person that you lose is like a multiverse of multi-galaxies of experience and life and connection that you have robbed. And then you as a mom and the grandma and the uncle and the grandpa choosing to do that, you also rob those children of yourself. So you're literally robbing those children of their entire mother's side, father's side, their father, their mother. How really awful. That's why I said nobody wins. Yes, I'll be ringing the bells of justice or whatever when Wendi gets arrested, and convicted, and the doors finally get slammed on her, and she finally realizes we the people, why do I care? Because I'm a part of society, and I don't think it's okay for people to walk around and kill people because they just don't fucking, you know what, bitch, your life is inconvenient to me, so pow pow, you're dead, and fuck all the repercussions, and I have money, and fake blue eyes, and whatever prettiness I may once have had, but your rotten insides have ruined that for me as a beholder of beauty or not. And she should have to face the justice for her actions, the consequences of her choices. And I don't think a jury of her peers is going to believe that she was an innocent victim in all this, and that her family all acted without her input, without her knowledge, without her consent, without her fucking money, without her telling them where, when, why, how, and being the ultimate beneficiary in every way, shape, and form. Yeah. I don't believe she's gonna be free forever. Maybe they'll arrest her sooner than we think. maybe Donna's will get a speedy trial and she'll be arrested sooner than I mean, she's arrested, but I mean, convicted and sentenced for her sentence. So. All right, now I really have to get back to work. All grown-ups, a whole family of grown-ups made the worst choice. Like, they should have been saying, we know it sucks. You're where you don't want to be. But at least your kids have a dad that loves him, loves them. At least he wants to be involved in their lives. At least he's paying child support. And at least he's taking the responsibility. And no, it's not like, oh, great, you're doing what you're supposed to. You get, pat on the back. Far too many people say crap like, you should be lucky he's paying child support. You know how many people don't? You know how many guys abandon? I mean, mothers abandon their children too. I don't know. Do you think having the father of your kids executed is abandoning them? I think it is, because you didn't think about the consequences. Like I said, you weighed the pros and cons in your mind of your bullshit thinking that this is a good idea. Well, no. When you made that decision to do that, you abandoned your children. You abandoned their future. You abandoned their ability to be well-adjusted people without a lot of trauma and therapy and stuff. Because you were selfish. I'm talking to Wendi, I'm talking to Donna, I'm talking to Charlie, I'm talking to Harvey. You guys made these choices that now those children will never get to see you again, except for maybe behind bars, behind glass. Or on live court TV or on YouTube. Your ass is on YouTube. Not under my nose for once. Another thought I want to add. As a devout vegan who went back and forth a little bit years ago with my baby daddy and my baby's daddy's mother, waiting for my new keyboard. So I'm vegan, the kids are vegan, and there was a little bit of time. Oh, I need to get my can. A little bit of time where the grandma was taking them to do yogurt or whatever. And I kind of absolutely put my foot down. And I was like, look, take them to do something vegan. Like, please respect the fact that we're vegan. I'm vegan. I'm raising them vegan for their health. So I was just very grateful that they didn't give me that part of a time. And unless my children and their dad and their grandma are all lying to me, which is possible, but I don't believe so. If they're being honest, then they do respect the fact that we're vegan, and when they have the kids, they do feed them vegan. Now, that was one of the issues that Wendi had, was she didn't want to live kosher. She didn't care about that stuff. And Dan did. So, I can't imagine having a parent feeding my kids shit I don't want them eating. I know it's unhealthy for them. And in Dan's case, went against his religion. I personally made a vow of veganism, and I honor that. That's really, really difficult. And I'm grateful that I didn't have to deal with that. If and when, here's my little ribbon. If and when at some point the children decide they don't want to be vegan, I want that to be a decision they make when they're older. another thought about that I can share is...
I would sit first. Fit in. Perfect. Thank you.
Wendy thought the better option was to murder him and then lie about him to the kids. How about let the man live and they'll form their own opinion. And if he's annoying and you're the cool parent because you take them to McDonald's and you let them do all this stuff that dad doesn't, then guess what? They'll form that opinion on their own. Maybe they'll come to hate that he's devout. And they love that you're chill. Maybe they'll love that he's devout. And it'll give them some kind of sense of whatever, comfort and security. But what they did was criminal. It is criminal. There's no statute of limitations on murder. You don't get a pass because you're old. You don't get a pass because you have kids to raise. Somebody I saw in a question on a comment in somebody's video was like, do you think they're going to wait until the kids grow up and then arrest her? Like, what? Like, oh, hun, you stay still. Another one of those, like, again, I'm not trying to put people down or disparage them, but it's like, how naive are you? How gullible? Like, well, you murdered their dad and they need you, so, you go ahead and raise those boys and then we'll arrest you when you're done. I'm like, what? She's a freaking murderer. She murdered their dad. That's a pretty good definition of an unfit mother. I had a biological mother who was super unfit. She did bad things. She was abusive. She was a liar. She was a psychological terrorist. And she didn't even do a murder. All the things that she did, she was physically abusive. She was emotionally and all that stuff, psychologically and abusive in so many ways. And she didn't kill anybody. She didn't. And I will never give her the time of day. I will never give her another chance. I will never give her a turn to tell me what her perspective is. Well, that's not completely true because I did actually eventually send her an email. My biological mother. Did a little research. I found her online. So I sent her an email basically saying, look, I basically don't ever want to have anything to do with you. Everything you ever said was probably a lie, and anything you ever say to me, I will automatically assume is a lie, even if there's some truth to it. Yet, I want you to know I'm not walking around hating you, and I'm telling you this not because I forgive you because what you did was okay, but because I can't walk around with poison in my heart, poisoning everything and everyone and every relationship and every job and every endeavor and every project and every thought and everything about me is poisoned because of you. If I let you. So I stopped letting her. She don't get to ever see me again. She'll never meet my children. I now know she knows that I have children only because I guess she did her own research and found out she would never learn from me. Okay. So what will Wendy's relationship be with her children? What could it possibly be right now? Seeing that picture that I heard somebody say, oh, Wendy looks like she's scared for her life, and I'm like, I don't see that. I see I'm single and ready to mingle vibes from the bar mitzvah video. And God only knows what her kids are going through, what other kids say to her kids. I mean, I have kids his age. I asked my younger son, what do you think kids would be saying? You know? And he said, kids probably say stuff like, your mom's a murderer, your uncle's a murderer, he's a convicted murderer who's put away forever for murdering their dad. Like, that's a fact. And their grandma is in jail for the same. That's a fact. Like, they have to walk around and go to school with that. Like, what do you think about that, Wendi? What about that glamorous life? What about that cool mom? Like, cool mom vibes. I got my tits out. I don't care about tits out. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to see you sexy. And she's presuming herself to be innocent. She's assuming and pretending, and we're supposed to, you know, bite the bullet of that bullshit. Sandwich, which isn't kosher. That ain't kosher, honey. And I'm not biting or buying. I had a biological mother who was super unfit. She did bad things. She was abusive. She was a liar. She was a psychological terrorist. And she tried to brainwash me against my father. She told me he wasn't even my father. And there's a lot of harm that comes from that. And I personally don't care how nice she might be. I don't care whatever good qualities she might have. I don't care whatever I might maybe learn from her, because she doesn't have a right to have access to me. She doesn't have access to my heart, my life, or, I mean, I can't carve her out of my existence. I tried to do that for most of my life, and that didn't help me. So I realized I have to do forgiveness, not for her, not because she's, you know, forgiven because of what she did was okay, but because if I walk around with hate in my heart, I'm going to rot from the inside out. Like I talked about, the poisonous off-gassing of whatever, you know, the consequences of your actions and your thoughts. So if you murder, I mean, the way I look at it, Wendi Adelson and Donna and Harvey and Charlie all got many years to enjoy the fruits of their crime, and you poisoned the children against their father, who you had murdered, and against their grandparents, who lost 3 people because they lost their son and their grandchildren. Not good choices. All right, I got to get back to work. Or I should say, I'm going to get to work. All right, as much as I would like to just sit here and wax on about Wendi, I do actually have a video that I do want to put out. Well, I shouldn't say put out. I want to make. Talking about, look at the lighting. Lighting is amazing, y'all. Could look a million years old, and then turn on a little light. Young again. All right, so I have to do work. I really want to put out.
I'll see you.
I really want to put out a video talking about, like, the idea. You know, I've been thinking, like, why does my hair look like this? Why haven't they arrested her, right? Why are they giving her all this time to formulate a plan? Why would they, you know, maybe let her slip away? And then I realized, no, if she's formulating a plan to run away, great. They're going to nab her. They're not forgetting about her. They're not like, oh, well, she's doing whatever. We don't know. No. They know what she's doing. They're watching her, they're listening to her, they are probably electronically seeing what she's doing. I'm sure that they want, what's that saying? Oh, you give them enough rope and they'll tie themselves up in knots. I know that's not what it is, but I don't want to say the other thing, but you know what I'm saying? You give people enough to often it's like that's why sometimes they just let people go on and on the stand or something. You let them go on and on, they're going to incriminate themselves, just like Charlie on those jail calls. And I am curious, one of the things that I was wondering about, because Donna was quite upset about them wanting to take her phone, which is normal. I mean, I think anybody would have that. I think anybody would have that kind of reaction, like, you can't take my phone, and, on one hand, there's a possibility, like, did she have texts on her, the first thing I thought of was she sending messages to Wendi like, I can't believe what we did for you, and you're just going to let your brother rot in jail? I can't believe that, you cut the boys out. Like, I can't believe after all we've done, I can't believe after we got that motherfucker killed for you. Again, it's not funny. It's really tragic. But, but then I guess it's like, yeah, it's a damn shame is what it is. That's what it's like. It's like a damn shame that these supposedly educated, affluent people who had money, who had resources, yet you would think like, don't you know? You're a damn lawyer. You don't know how hard it is to get away with crimes?
Thank you. How you doing?
You think just because somebody, they're racist. They are racist. They are stupid. They are, they're criminals. And that's why they will all be in jail eventually. All being Donna, Harvey, Charlie, and Wendi. There's so much of the evidence that I don't even know. I've done my research. I wouldn't even call it the tip of the iceberg. It's like a couple grains of sand worth in an entire beach of information. I feel like that's what I have, like almost nothing. And there's like multiple trials that occurred, and I didn't watch all of them, and there were multiple police interviews, and I watched a lot but not all. And I do know that Charlie and Harvey had lunch after one of the bumps, like the third or fourth bump, and there were cops who were reporting it, but I don't think they got a good audio. I watched it and I heard nothing except, but that lunch, it seems circumstantially rather incriminating. Maybe they heard what they were saying. I don't know. But I'm saying, there's so many people out there on the internet streets talking about they don't have any evidence. They don't have anything to put Wendi in jail. It's like, are you working the case? Are you the one who's been compiling the information and doing an investigation for 10 years? Are you the one with the files? Are you the one in the loop? Yeah, obviously, I'm putting out my opinions. I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm saying what I think. But I just find it bizarre when you put all the pieces together that are publicly available. Yes, innocent until proven guilty. And you have the right to a fair trial. But the girl is guilty. Like, there are so many stacks and stacks and stacks of her lies and her ridiculous excuses and her ridiculous reactions and the things that she said to multiple people. Like, there's evidence. I don't have the stacks of the evidence that will put her away, but it's there, and it's only a matter of time. I just genuinely find it remarkable that people have such strong opinions, but they don't seem aware of the fact that the prosecution doesn't tell the public all their evidence before an arrest and before a trial. They don't hand over their witness list. The prosecution, the investigators, the detectives, the police, they do release some evidence and some things get leaked. But the idea that the public is privy to all the evidence that they have, that they're investigating, that they're compiling, all the leads, all the details, to actually say they don't have any evidence against her, it's like an arrogant, how do you know what they have? The idea that you think that you know all the evidence that they have, it's not public, honey. They don't just spill the beans and tell the whole world. Why would they do that? Like, just think a little bit before you go commenting on my video or somebody else's video about how, oh, the recycling is coming, how they don't have any evidence against her. Remind yourself, if you care, why would they tell you all the evidence? Why would the public have open access to their case? They're building a case. It's strategic. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things that have to be hidden from the public. There's a lot that goes into an investigation. So I just had to say, I find it tragically just like kind of ridiculous to think that the public has access to all of Georgia Kappelman's investigations and her evidence. And you really think Georgia's gonna just spill everything and not have a case? You know, like, there were questions that she asked that she never followed up with. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know. There's a lot of Wendy's computer, her laptop, her phone. There's so many things, the WhatsApp. There's so many things where evidence can be found. Like, who did they all talk to? What police interviews have they done? What follow-up questions have they asked? Where have they followed the trail? Where did it lead? What did her friends say? What did her colleagues say? What did the guy at the liquor store say? What did all these people involved, people that you don't even know who were involved, what did they all have to say? The idea that anybody who's not working the case could legitimately say they don't have any evidence, it's just like, oh, you're just word vomiting. I got it. The idea that the public would have already had all that knowledge is just silly. So I'm just saying I have 100% faith that they are going to find all the evidence that will put her away for life. And it's just a matter of time. And if she chooses to take this time that they're giving her to formulate a plan and try to run, maybe she'll be smarter. Maybe she won't go to the airport. Maybe she'll disguise herself. Maybe she'll figure something out. Of course, I hope not, because I think she should go to jail, and I think she will. And I don't think she's gonna slip by. And I also see people saying they don't think Wendy's going to get arrested until Donna's conviction. And again, I don't believe that, because Donna might not get convicted for like 2 years. Courts take a long time. I mean, she's not even, I don't even know. There was another date and then it was pushed because of a storm. And then I don't know exactly what the date is, but you know, for them to wait, but so I don't know. I'm not the one with the stack of information. I'm not the one who's getting the arrest warrant. I'm not the one who's going to be prosecuting her. But I do believe, beyond any doubt, that she will be getting arrested and spending the rest of her life in jail. I think that she ought to be enjoying every bit of time. So that's, I did want to make a video saying, to discuss, like, I wonder if she's planning to run. I've said this before, like, is she going to abandon her children? Is she going to say, well, it's them or me at this point? Is she going to runny to the sunny with pocket money? Or is it going to be glamour to the slammer? Yammer. You going yammer, yammer, yammer? Let's see. Wendi, run, hun, before your glamour to the slammer and Chuck Yammers. Damn her! Okay, see you. I gotta get to work. Bye. Bundled back up because but I'm gonna go meet my son at the bus. I was actually about to text him, like, you know what? I have too much work to do. I'm not gonna come out. But then I thought, I want to. It's my only few moments I get to actually get sun, regardless of how actually freezing the sun is. At least I'm getting out in the world. So that's a good thing. And also I'm gonna end up working all night. Oh gosh. Not cool. Ew, somebody peed there. So I was saying, even though it's freezing and icy, I'm going to be working all night, and then I have a couple of calls in the morning. Well, actually in the afternoon. So, oh, there's the doo-doo I don't want to step on. So, dog doo-doo from yesterday, I remember. So what I really want to do, I want to screen record the little clip of Harvey saying, why do I have to give? I want to screen record the clip of Donna saying, here we go again. I want to find if I can find a recording of June saying in her police interview, Charlie was the perfect boyfriend except for the cheating and the murder. But will I actually do that? What is going to matter more? I have all these projects to do. Do I want to put out the video and just say, oh well, I'll find the clips another time? Or maybe I won't. Or do I want to find the clips because I feel better like that? I don't know. My kid's getting off the bus. I'll see. We'll figure it out. Either way, you can find it.
It's like very sad, but the only thing bad about him was he's supposedly a murderer, so.
Yes.
I mean,
that's the only thing bad about him, yeah.
But other than that, it was like my dream guy, and it was like perfect until the whole thing blew up. And then that was like #1 priority instead of us. And
so before that, you never caught him with another girl?
oh yeah, I've caught him.
Okay.
So that's I was gonna say,
You might have, but that's
well, the girl that he's pregnant with, I've caught him with her.
There's been a couple.
Twice I've caught him.
Describe him as a perfect.
I know.
Well, yeah, the murdering and the cheating.
Besides the murdering and cheating, he was great.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, I know obviously he's not good for me, so.
Okay.
put the date down. We don't, like he said, we don't release anything. I work for the Tallahassee Police Department. I've never released anything we do. No one's going to know we're here talking to you. Okay? You weren't with him at the time everything went down. It's the after, and that's kind of what we're here for.
And you were asking about permission.
Yeah.
Charlie one night. Charlie had a girlfriend at the time, so we all four hung out, and Charlie and I ended up hitting it off more than the other two. So a year went by, and I didn't hear from, like, I was not interested in him. He didn't have my number. So my roommate that you met, like, looked up a periodontist to see for her. She wanted to get a consultation for something, and it happened to be Charlie, and she didn't know him. So he found out she knew me, was my best friend, and then later he called her, had the office call her and stuff for my number, and saying he would do her procedure for free and stuff if he got my number and stuff.
Wow. He really pursued you.
Did he do that?
She didn't end up getting it, but he said he would have. But so yeah, he found me that way, and then ever since then we've been like inseparable until
last year.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, everyone tells me he's such a horrible person and I'm better off. And I know that, but I miss him still, and my life's been a little rocky since we've broken up. So also he has like a family and stuff, and I'm single, and so it's kind of like upsetting to me, and I still don't know what's going on with this case thing. Like, since it came up, our relationship just changed.
Like from the beginning, as soon as it came out in the media?
Yeah, because when we were first together, I had no idea about that. And then it was like a fairy tale, perfect. And then when that came up, it was like he changed, our relationship, everything changed. It wasn't just about us anymore. It was like just the case. Like,
he was constantly worried about the case.
Right.
Yeah. Like, we couldn't do anything anymore. Or go anywhere.
What was he like saying when it first came up? Did you see it, or did he tell you about it?
About what?
About the case, when you first heard about the case.
The story that they published was the first time I ever heard about it. They thought I was Catherine. Mm-hmm. So that guy who was a reporter made me read something and told me about it. And then Charlie pulled up home, and they snapped a photo of us.
Where was that, at Charlie's house?
Yeah, in front of his house.
So a reporter came to Charlie's house and knocked on the door type thing, or?
Well, it was funny because I was working. I had a meeting and I got off early, which never happens. So I went there to grab something of mine at his house after work because I had the key. Mm-hmm. And then they were sitting out front waiting. So right when I got out of my car, they approached me. And also Charlie never got off that early, and he pulled up like a little after me, so it was ironic that we're both there.
Right.
Because we're never there at that time.
Wow. So the reporter thought you were Katie.
Yeah.
Oh my. What did he say to you?
I didn't know who Katie was, and then he explained everything really quick, but Charlie came and pulled me in. Then he kind of explained, and that's how I found out. And then they twisted everything and put it in the media, that horrible photo of me and everything.
You were at the front door?
In front of the car?
Yeah, like, it was the worst thing ever.
So what did Charlie, what was his explanation? Like, how did he explain it to you?
I don't really know, like, exactly how. He kind of, like, pushed away from it. He wouldn't talk to me about it for the longest time. Like, he would be sneaky and go places and freak out and wouldn't tell me, like, where, until later on when it got big. Like, for a week when I said he's been so stressed in my article was when he was acting just very different and, like, wouldn't tell me what was wrong.
And that was before you knew?
Yeah, because those 2 weeks he was acting weird, but I thought it was maybe, like, work issues, family, or something, like him getting sued that he couldn't tell me or something.
Okay.
So
when he when that reporter was talking to you and he brought you inside, he didn't kind of, you saw what the reporter gave you, did that kind of shock you and you asked him any questions when he went inside? Or kind of how did...
Yeah, well, I knew about the Dan passing because Charlie mentioned that that he got murdered, but he never
told
said
you
anything else. He just said he was shot in the garage and they don't know who did it. So when I found out it was that case, then I put 2 and 2 together and said, oh, they're accusing him of doing this exact case. I didn't know.
Right.
So...
Have you read anything else on it after that?
After that time? Yeah, I was following it for a while because we were still together.
Right.
And sometime I'll check to see what's going on, but I know it's been like dragging out for what now? Like
it's been 4 years.
Well, 2 after
two after
they've
that,
been
yeah.
in jail, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, a little while. So what was his explanation to you about, like, he was getting accused of it? What did he say about being accused of it?
He just used to tell me if any cops come to the door, like, don't answer, you don't know anything, because I really don't. And he would just say I didn't do it, and they don't have any proof or evidence, and it's just a theory, and I know someone that knows someone, but everyone knows each other. He would just say things like that, he would say he didn't do it, and he doesn't know that his life's so miserable, everyone's out to get him and stuff.
Did he ever tell you about Katie?
He told me he dated her. I can't remember if it was before I knew about her from the case. I think he might have mentioned he dated a Filipino girl, but I don't know too much about her now.
Okay. Well, after she got arrested, what did he say?
He was just shocked and surprised that she got taken and stuff, and he didn't know what was going to happen next, so
Was he still acting more paranoid and stuff at that point?
Yeah, I mean, for a while, he was, like, very scary to be around, just, like, angry and, like, different, and that's what I meant also when I said our relationship changed, because he says I was bringing more stress onto him because I don't understand the case and stuff like that, and just very, like, irritable and ticked off at everything. But, I mean, I guess who can blame him, because his whole life is kind of falling apart and stuff, so.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm sure it was. Did, he talked about Katie. When Katie got arrested, you probably read or saw the shows. I don't know if you saw any of the shows, the TV shows they did on it.
Yeah,
like
I did.
Dateline in 2020. And how they linked Katie
I know.
to the murder.
Yeah.
What was his explanation about that? What would he tell you about that?
He wouldn't give me a full one. He used to say, I don't know, like, would just keep quiet and say, I had nothing to do with it, I'm not involved, and
You didn't think that was strange? Could you come up with an explanation of why?
Well, I mean, I think I was in denial for a little, like, and the end of the day when I went home, like, it made sense that people would accuse him, and you really think about it, like, people, like my sister and my family and everyone are like, obviously he did it. But
look at some of the evidence that's out there.
No, I know, and
it's hard to.
I don't know if Charlie's just good at, like, persuading people or what his lies, but he makes it believable sometimes. So I really don't know. Like, I'm curious also to see if he's involved, because he never, according to him, he has nothing to do with it. So.
What do you think?
I don't know. It, like, comes and goes.
I can see how you have,
like,
obviously you're still in love with him, so obviously you don't want to believe the guy that you're dating could do something like this. But if you look at some of the stuff, like, I mean, you've seen it. You said your family has seen it, and to them it's obvious.
Yeah, I mean, even my dentist, office, they all hate him and they know him. And
Did he ever
everyone
work there?
tells me like I'm better off. It's just
it's hard once you already have feelings invested. I understand that.
yeah, and that he's living with another girl and the baby and a dog and stuff, and I'm by myself, so it's like very sad. But the only thing bad about him was he's supposedly a murderer. So
Yes.
I mean,
that's the only thing bad about him. Yeah.
But other than that, it was like my dream guy, and it was like perfect until the whole thing blew up, and then that was like number one priority instead of us. And
So before that, you never caught him with another girl?
oh yeah, I've caught him.
Okay.
So that's I was gonna say
You might have, but that's
Well,
what I
the
was
girl that
confused
he's
about.
pregnant with, I've caught him with her.
There's been a couple.
Twice
And
I've
you still
caught him.
describe him as a perfect
I know.
Well, yeah, the murdering and the cheating.
Besides the murdering and cheating, he was great. Though.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, I know obviously he's not good for me, so.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like you kind of got your stuff together. You got a realty license now, it looks like.
Yeah, I did it, like, we planned, though, our life, and he wanted me to get that, so my whole life's just been, like, after leaving, it's been, I'm trying to, like, pick it back up without him, so.
Yeah.
It's,
You can do it. You
Yeah.
do it. You don't.
How long were y'all together?
like, almost 2 years.
Almost 2
It
years.
wasn't too long, but I basically lived there, and we were very close.
Well, no, 2 years in an adult relationship is different than a younger. In an adult relationship, your lives are revolving around each other and planning with each other. So I understand that.
And I was basically living there, so every day we were together.
And then just sudden change.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere we went, and he couldn't ever sleep at night, and he was always like, just everything was horrible.
Was he paranoid, like talking on his phone, or people? He was paranoid about being followed by the police and stuff, or?
Yeah, well, he didn't like that everything's tapped. Like, he says he has no privacy, and that's what he always would talk about, is that people are watching him. And
If he didn't do anything wrong,
tapping
why would he
him.
be worried about people watching him?
I don't know. I think he's always just saying I'm a private person, and I don't want everyone knowing what's going on in my life. Nothing to do with it. I'm not involved, and
You
people.
didn't think that was strange? That he couldn't even come up with an explanation of why?
Well, I mean, I think I was in denial for a little. Like, at the end of the day, when I went home, like, it made sense that people would accuse him, and you really think about it, you know, like, people, like my sister and my family and everyone are like, obviously he did it. But
Look at some of the evidence that's out there.
no, I know, and
It's hard to.
I don't know if Charlie's just good at like persuading people or what his lies, but he makes it believable sometimes.
It's pretty odd, isn't it?
So I just knew he never called me like that, so I said, you know, what were you talking to Katie about, like, so much?
Was there ever that gut feeling for you after seeing that and then seeing his behavior that was like, wow, he really could have done this?
I mean, yeah.
And that's obviously an opinion. I know it's not evidence. I'm just asking. You know, you, as a woman, you get those gut feelings, and they're usually pretty accurate on a lot of things. Like, I'm sure you get those, like, when you think you'd be with another girl and stuff. You know the behavior. So
be right too.
yeah. So,
But
when you saw that in the media and then how his behavior was in the calls, and that's not his normal behavior. That gut feeling that I ever kind of like, wow, this guy could have really done this.
well, things that he would do, like, out of the ordinary, like, not tell me where he's going, or periodically, like, leave, and, like, being secretive during the investigation kind of made me wonder, like, why isn't he involving me or telling me what's going on? And then,
Right.
like,
he was
I
really
see him
innocent.
really stressed a lot about it, like he's very affected by it.
Right. So, and an innocent
can't
person, if he
even-
didn't do anything, why would you be worried? Kind of.
Yeah, so I did have, like, sometimes a thought and the gut feeling, but I never knew because
Right.
as far as I was concerned, I was still like in a perfect relationship and stuff. So I kind of like put my blinders on a lot.
Right.
So I can just stay with him.
Right.
But it didn't work out that way anyway, so.
Yeah. That's understandable. Unfortunately, that's something we women do. So.
Yeah, and I do know I'm better off. I don't know why I cared about him a lot, I guess, so.
Maybe the illusion of the perfect relationship and everything turning out the way.
I'll tell you this. You're not the only one. Put it
That what?
That felt that way and has gone through the same.
Oh, I thought you meant about him, like the other ones said it too.
Well, that's. I'm not telling you what other people told me. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you that you're not the only one that has fallen for him like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
felt that
He's good at
it's
doing that.
Mm-hmm.
just all of that makes you feel any better or not, but
Yeah, I know.
it's understandable.
I mean, I had to get rid of like all this girl stuff in his house, and like I knew he was a player, but I don't know. I guess I thought he would change or something.
You're not the only one that thought that too.
Exactly.
He's like 40 now, and
you would think.
Yeah.
41 now.
Yeah.
Without marriage or a kid, so it's like kind of like, I guess he likes that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he's got the kid now, so.
Well, that's why he wanted a kid. He didn't want commitment, so he can control him.
Yeah.
And cheat on the side and stuff and do whatever he does.
Exactly.
So.
Alright.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Definitely. It'll work out.
Yeah, I guess time will.
Be patient. Yes.
And then this thing, I was like, well, if everyone's telling me it's so bad and he really did do it, then why is it taking so long? And at a point, I wanted him to go to jail. I was so mad at him. But now, like, I really, I do feel bad if it actually, like, happened and I'm picturing him in jail. But I didn't like him for a long time, a couple months. I was like, I hated him.
Well, that's understandable, too.
So I was like, why aren't they taking him yet? And what's going on?
You know, investigations take time. You know, there's.
Right.
You can never put a timetable, especially one of this magnitude, you know.
And then his voice was just always telling me, like, you know nothing, don't talk to anyone. Like, if they ever call you, come here. So I always, like, I guess was trained on not saying anything because he told me not to.
All the time. Why would he say that?
I just think he didn't want me to make it worse. He even got mad when I was in the paper and stuff, but that wasn't my fault. And I said, you never told me about this, so.
Yeah, you should have been mad at him.
And he says I sounded stupid or something, and
goodness.
that I looked bad in the picture. And
yeah, you looked fine in that picture.
Trying to, don't worry about that.
He was deflecting. He was trying to put it on you so you wouldn't ask him questions.
Being mad at him, right?
Yeah, because you should have been mad at him. You were blindsided. He came up to you and you had no idea what was going on. He knew what was going on all along.
Yeah, so I just thought it was weird that he never asked or wondered once, like, who really did it. He never mentioned, like, oh, like, I wonder who did it, or this person might have done it, or I feel bad for Dan, or, like, no remorse or anything.
Yeah, none. Even told you how terrible he was, right? How bad he was to Wendi. Almost like he deserved it.
And then when I first asked him about Wendy's ex, and he just said, oh, he got shot. It was just like, period, and he didn't give me like any more information. I was like, okay.
Really?
He just said they don't know who did it, and then like changed the subject.
Really?
Before you guys even, the case came up again.
Yeah.
Before it became public.
So he used to just shut up about that whole thing. Like,
just not talk about it at all, just say he's dead and that's the end of it.
It's kind of odd.
And it was like a weird explanation, and like, they shot him in the head and they don't know.
Especially since they don't know who did it. It'd be kind of odd to
that he wouldn't be curious
Yeah.
himself or something.
Exactly.
Tell anybody.
That's what was weird to me. I'm always like, well, if you didn't do it, then who do you think did it or something? And he wouldn't, like, ever, like, show any sympathy or anything, or curiosity or... And then he would also say he was so horrible to Wendi. And
To everybody, the whole family just, he's dead and they don't care. He's just this bad person to Wendi. It's kind of...
that's just all I've heard from them, yeah. It's not the dad or anything. Or
but Mom
and Charlie.
And Charlie.
Is Dad just kind of there? He's just kind of real quiet? Or
He talks, but he's like, talks about other things. And he is usually in the background, like, quiet or doing his own thing.
Does the mom kind of run the family, you think? Is she kind of in charge kind of thing? Or?
I think she's more involved with the children. Like, she definitely talks to Charlie more on the phone, sees them more, they're closer. So I think she's kind of like in charge, I guess you can say. But I didn't really see them like too much. So, but one time when I did see him on the way there, he used to get so mad and violent, like that he would start like throwing water on me, and like he threw my purse outside and dumped it outside of his lawn. Like, he started getting really mad.
Why? What caused him to do that kind of stuff?
Well, anything would trigger it, like if I mention other girls, but just primarily when the case came up, everything ticked him off. Like, like he started getting red and screaming and would take random walks, like just acting like a crazy person. But I mean, because he thinks he's going to jail, I guess. I don't know how that feels. So.
Right.
But we would get into a lot of fights, like after, like yelling physically, like
when you saw it on the news, you mean, when the case came up? What do you mean about the case coming up?
just during the whole thing, like in the media, when they signed his affidavit thing and he didn't go to jail, when Catherine got arrested, when Lewis got arrested, or Garcia or whatever his name was. So like every time something would happen, it was like, and he would have to take Xanax and deep breaths and like smoke every night because he can't sleep or be alone. He couldn't ever be in his house. He would tell me like, I have to go outside, or I need to leave the house because I'm just gonna think at home. And he would get mad at me if I didn't want to go on the boat because he didn't want to be home. Like, he just said, you don't understand. And, I don't know. He started getting like, not like crazy violent, but like just little things would make him very angry.